Part 3. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 22. When Lily thought of this, she couldn't help but have a look of fear in her eyes. She did remember some of the martial arts practiced by Yu Lingshan, but because Yu Lingshan was the only daughter of Yu Buchan, her own martial arts was not necessarily that powerful. In addition, Lily is not the original owner, and her martial arts value is not high. Even if she trades in IQ and physical strength, she can only use 10% or 20% of Yu Lingshan's martial arts in a hurry. She is now covered in injuries, and her back is hit. Poisoned, if Lin Pingzi really wanted to kill her, she would be unable to fight back. Brother Ping. It was pitch dark ahead. Lin Pingzi just drove his horse and walked along the winding path. Yu Lingshan didn't know where he was going to take her, so she couldn't help but feel panicked. After a moment of hesitation, she still forced herself to drive first. Finished. Lin Pingzi ignored her and walked for about 3/4 of an hour. Under the moonlight, he saw that the trees in front were sparse and a ruined temple could be vaguely seen. Lin Pingzi then jumped off the horse with Lily in his arms and held the Lily hugged her and tied the horse to the trees outside with her free hand, while he carried her directly into the ruined temple. He threw the woman in his hand towards the ground without mercy, and with a bang, Lily rolled twice on the ground, and something hit the wound on her back, causing her to almost scream in pain. His body twitched unconsciously. In the darkness, Lin Pingzi took out a fire stick and blew it on, looked around, cut down a few tattered benches, piled them up as firewood, and started a fire. He didn't speak and Lily didn't dare to say a word. She only looked at his jade-like side face, which was as handsome as a woman's. His slender hands were picking through the piles of firewood, and his chin was pointed, showing a bit of sinisterness. Stay here. Well, he stood up, glanced at Lily, then smiled, took the sword again and turned around to go out. As soon as he left, Lily breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, even if Lin Pingzi didn't tell her, she wouldn't run around randomly. This place was very unfamiliar. She had just arrived, and she was seriously injured. Even if she could run, a monk would not be able to run away from the temple. With Lin Pingzi's martial arts, he would not be able to catch up with someone like her. It was too easy for the injured person. Not only would he not be able to escape in the end, but he would also be very likely to anger Lin Pingzi. She would not do such a thing that was not worth the gain. She didn't know why, but she couldn't remember many things she felt she should have known at the moment. If the plot hadn't been poured into her mind, I'm afraid Lily would have watched this movie several times since she was a child. The story was forgotten. This should be the result of the decrease in IQ. Lily smiled bitterly. After tasting the result of the IQ being reduced by more than 10 points, she couldn't help but become vigilant and decided that no matter what next time, even if the IQ is not increased temporarily, it will never be reduced. In just half an hour or so, Lin Pingzi, dressed in gorgeous clothes, had already walked in from outside. After seeing Lily sitting there and not moving, his expression softened a little. He was holding a broken tile in his hand. Jar now walked directly towards Lily and pushed her to the ground. Well. Lily took a mouthful of mud and was about to speak when a sharp pain hit her back. Lin Pingzi had already poured a jar of unknown contents onto his back. She couldn't hold it back and almost screamed. Fortunately, she bit her lip early. Although she didn't scream, her face didn't look good. She heard Lin Pingzi pull out the long sword. The voice sounded anxious and panicked, but I was unable to refute, so I had to bite my lips, mentally prepared for the failure of this mission. The sound of the sword blade sinking into flesh and blood was heard, and there was a sharp pain in Lily's back. She felt as if Lin Pingzi was cutting her back with a long sword. She endured the first blow, but finally stopped the second blow. Being able to hold back, he whimpered and grabbed onto Lin Pingzi's robe. Her actions were obviously beyond Lin Pingzi's expectations. He paused for a moment, then sneered, then picked up the sword and continued his movements. After a few times, Lily also understood that Lin Pingzi was cutting off the poisoned area on her back. Although Lily's back had not been injured before, the poison on Mu Jiaofeng's back was very powerful. At this moment, outside his skin had already changed color, and Lin Pingzi had no antidote, so he had to come up with this method of peeling off the skin. In order to save her life, Lily had to grit her teeth and endure it desperately. She already understood why the strange man in the starry sky said this was a dangerous place, but now she had no choice but to die. Dead patience. Because of the pain, it felt like time passed very slowly. I don't know how much time had passed before Lily's body, which was already stiff and numb from pain, was pushed by Lin Pingzi. "Are you dead?" This person was so vicious. Even if Yu Buchan was sorry for him, at least Yu Lingshan had no way of being sorry for him. What's more, for whom did she suffer all this? If her body hadn't blocked Lin Pingzi's poison, if the poison had flown into his body, he would have been blind like in the plot. Lily wanted to scratch the wall with hatred, but she held it back. Lin Pingzi looked at her struggling to hold onto his clothes with disgust, and said coldly, "If you are not dead, get up, so as not to stain my clothes." After enduring it for a long time, Lily took a deep breath, grabbed Lin Pingzi's clothes tightly, and said weakly, "Brother Ping, I can't get up, my back hurts, and the wounds on my body hurt. You and I are husband and wife. Let me lean on him for a while." Lily knew that Lin Pingzi had already practiced the evil fighting sword technique in the palace at this time, so she was not afraid at all that he would have any evil thoughts, and stuck to him tightly, letting Lin Pingzi reach out and grab her arm. Even after several attempts, he couldn't pull her away. "Were you injured before?" Lin Pingzi pulled her a few times and saw that she was sticking to him like a dogskin plaster. He had to hold back his disdain and let her stick to him. Hearing that she had been injured before, he would reach out and touch her. Yu Lingshan, this silly girl, was really stupid before. She was just infatuated with Lin Pingzi, but she suffered all the grievances and hardships without saying anything. Children who cry get candy. This principle cannot be wrong anywhere. When Lily heard Lin Pingzi ask about her wounds, she pointed out the injuries she sustained when she and he fought against the Qing Cheng faction. "I begged you to save me before, but you only played tricks on Yu Kanghai." Her back was burning with pain, and she was sweating profusely. Her voice was trembling when she spoke. No matter how ruthless Lin Pingzi was, he thought that when he didn't know Yu Buchan's true face, he had nothing to do with the senior sister Yu Lingshan. It was quite a warm relationship between them. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 23. Now he saw that she was injured and had blocked Mu Jiaofeng's poison for him. Even if he hated Yu Buchan, seeing Lily's painful look, he snorted coldly, hesitated for a moment, and still stretched out his arms to hug her. It was around Lily's waist, so that she wouldn't have to hold on tightly and pull the wound. "No one wants you to be cruel. Since you were injured and you didn't tell me earlier, you still have to protect yourself from the poison. I don't need your help." Named you. Lily rolled her eyes. If she could have controlled this body at that time, she would never have helped Lin Pingzi. After dying once, she cherished her life the most. What's more, this mission has no ending. If you want to save your life to complete the mission and survive your own crisis, how can you dare to waste your life on saving Lin Pingzi? But at this moment, the pain was her own, and Lily couldn't let her pain go in vain. Therefore, when she heard Lin Pingzi's words, she still showed a look of despair and sadness. "I'm just afraid that you will suffer. If you are poisoned by him, maybe your face will be injured. It's okay if it hurts your face, but if something happens to your eyes, Isn't this a lifetime event? Lin Pingzi didn't say anything. He knew in his heart that if Bei hadn't blocked it for him at that time, his eyes might have been lost. But even though he knew this, he didn't say anything nice, he just sneered. Road. Your father-in-law and his daughter all want to plot against me. They pretend to be benevolent on the surface, but secretly use this trick to lure me in. It doesn't matter if I am blind. As long as I can avenge the whole Lin family, I'm willing to be blind, and I don't need you father and daughter to pretend to be good people. Lin Pingzi became more and more excited as he spoke, his eyes red with murderous intent. Lily didn't know which of her words touched his nerves again. This when I saw his ruthless expression, I couldn't help but secretly groan in my heart. But brother Ping, you keep saying that dad and I are plotting against you, but what have I done to make you misunderstand me so deeply? Lily was a little scared now, huddled up and stared at Lin Ping pitifully. From the looks of it, this person is a person who is equally cruel to herself and others. At this moment, she is really afraid that Lin Pingzi will draw his sword at him if she disagrees with him. Why are you pretending to be stupid? Why are you pretending to be stunned? Your father has been planning for a long time to seek my family's evil sword manual. After knowing that I have understood the inside story, he actually wants to kill people and silence them. You are a hypocrite and it is just a sanctimony, Lin Pingzi said coldly. He looked at Lily and smiled coldly. In fact, he felt quite complicated about Lily. Lily had risked her life to block the knife for him before. It was not that he had not been moved in his heart. Just thinking about the unjust lives of the Lin family made his heart even colder. My father, want to kill you. Lily already knew the plot at this time, and naturally also knew that this was the most important moment for Lin Pingzi's mood change. He should have extremely complicated feelings for Yu Lingshan herself. It was impossible, it was completely out of hatred, otherwise he wouldn't have drawn out his long sword and just cut off the poisoned flesh on Lily's back. Although the method was direct, at least he didn't actually have the intention to kill Lily immediately. At this moment, Lily began to try hard to recall the plot. She seemed to remember that Yu Lingshan's death was due to Lin Pingzi's hand, but why she did it and where he killed her, she had no memory at all. The lack of IQ started to make Lily burst into tears. It had been mentioned in the plot, but she had forgotten most of it in just a short time. The low IQ was really a flaw. She would rather have no force in the future than lose her intelligence. Do you think I will believe you just because you pretend not to know? Lin Pingzi had a sarcastic look on his face, but he stared straight at Lily and said coldly, you two, father and daughter, the trick you played was just to deceive me so that your father could get my family's sword manual. At this moment, Lin Pingzi became more and more excited as he talked. When Lily saw something bad, his eyes turned red. He was so anxious that he didn't know what to do. She seemed to have run out of brains, and she subconsciously cried with a sad face. Shout, I'm hungry. As soon as he said these words, Lin Pingzi was stunned at first, and then gritted his teeth bitterly, as if he wished he could bite Lily a few times, but in the end he still did nothing and just laid Lily down. He put it on the ground and went out again. When he came back, he already had a trimmed grouse with him. He took a piece of thin bamboo and pierced it and put it on the fire to roast. Although Lily had complained about hunger before, she was so seriously injured that today she also suffered severe irritation, and getting along with Lin Pingzi, a wife-murdering villain, brought great psychological pressure to her. She was already exhausted and couldn't eat anything. Although the chicken was tender, there was no oil or salt, and it didn't taste very delicious. She couldn't eat it anymore after 2 bites. Lin Pingzi looked at her with a sneer, and ate the whole chicken by himself. In the middle of the night, Lily began to feel something bad. She was very cold all over, and the fire around her was probably almost extinguished. She huddled up, feeling more and more that the shadow of death was getting closer to her. She had already died several times. Lily could almost smell the cold smell of death, but she was unwilling to do so. She didn't want her mission to fail in such an unclear way. When she was breathing weakly, Lily seemed to see the mysterious man in the space wearing a brocade robe and a jade crown. Her lips moved slightly, and the man frowned slightly, and then he picked her up. Lily only felt when she couldn't help but float up. The next moment the man's lips were gently pressed against her lips, and a cold liquid with a faint fragrance flowed from his mouth. Lily swallowed it subconsciously, even the taste he didn't taste it either. The man's figure had already faltered twice and seemed a little more transparent than before. He glanced at Lily and then disappeared in the blink of an eye. As the cold liquid slid down her esophagus, the heat all over her body seemed to recede a little. Lily's mind became clearer, and then she could see clearly where she was. It was still in the ruined temple, and there was no such thing as the one in the starry sky. Man, but the feeling just now was too real, and she felt so good that it was inexplicably good. The fever in her body receded at an abnormal speed. She was sure that she had a fever before. Lily narrowed her eyes and already guessed, I wonder if the man in the space helped me. Although she didn't know why he would help her, Lily immediately stopped thinking about it. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 24. After the heat wave subsided, it became cold in the ruined temple where the fire had been extinguished. She was still injured, and the pain in her back made her want to faint. She had just experienced a near-death experience. If it happened again, Lily couldn't guarantee that the man would come to rescue her if something happened. Thinking of this, she stood up and walked towards Lin Pingzi. She was already like this. Lin Pingzi shouldn't kill her at this time, but she couldn't. If this continues, if the cold continues, it is very likely that she will continue to have a high fever. If the injury worsens and the high fever is added, it will make things worse. What are you going to do? Lin Pingzi's cold voice came from the darkness. His eyes were like ferocious wolves hiding in the dark. Lily was also a little scared, but she still said bravely, Brother Ping, it's so cold, I want to sleep next to you. Lin Pingzi was stunned for a long time. Even if he couldn't see him, Lily could feel that he must be stunned at this time. She moved for a while, and the wound on her back hurt, and it seemed that blood was flowing out again. But she still leaned towards Lin Pingzi, maybe because she wanted to look at Lily nearby, so Lin Pingzi slept not far away. When she was sweating profusely from crawling, she finally touched Lin Pingzi. She touched his feet, and when she touched his hands, Lily endured the pain and pulled his hands away, and leaned into his arms. Go away, Lin Pingzi shouted very fiercely, but the hands that wanted to push her only rested on her arms and did not move any more. As soon as Lily felt the situation, she couldn't help but become more bold and said coquettishly, Brother Ping, lie down flat. My back hurts. I want to sleep on you. I'm very cold. Obviously he had only scolded her severely at night, but this woman came close to her again shamelessly. Lin Pingzi gritted his teeth and glared at her bitterly, but he saw that she was clinging to his arms. The way he walked, somehow, his body reacted faster than his mind, and he had moved further down against the wall. Lily was crawling on top of him, like a restless silkworm, so he couldn't help but hug her upright roughly. When he heard her cry out twice in pain, he moved slightly gently, but said deliberately, You're asking for trouble. Lily was so excited that she almost shed tears when he agreed to cooperate. She patted Lin Pingzi's chest, It's so warm. I'm cold. I'm scared to death. Who is not afraid of death? Lin Pingzi's voice was very calm, which made Lily feel weak, but he seemed to have remembered something, Everyone in our Fu-Wei escort agency doesn't want to die, but... After he said this, seemed to be a little angry again. When Lily saw something bad, she hugged him tightly to prevent him from throwing her away. She cried bitterly, "I know that my father is not a human being. I want to get him your family's sword manual. I know you don't believe me, but I'm still cold, don't push me away." Her voice was delicate and weak. Lin Pingzi wished he could strangle her, but at this moment he didn't know what. "I don't want to move." "Push you away? Why should I touch you?" His voice was unspeakably cold and arrogant, and Lily hurriedly said, yeah, brother Lin Pingzi is the #1 hero in the world, and he will never push away an injured man like me." A weak woman who is afraid of the cold. After she coaxed her like this, Lin Pingzi naturally couldn't do anything anymore, so he had to hold her in his arms depressedly. Lily was moaning in the dark, and the pain from the wound on her back kept her awake. Well, even Lin Pingzi didn't sleep soundly. The person he held in his arms was like holding a heater, which made him a little uncomfortable and more complicated. One night, Lin Pingzi did not take the opportunity to kill someone, which made Lily feel relieved about him. Of course, it may also be because her lack of IQ made her judgment of the crisis a little slower. In short, when Lin Pingzi went out to wash up in the morning, Lily he refused to let go. Deeply afraid that he would leave her in the deep mountains and old forests, she completely forgot about the persistence and fear she felt when she wanted to escape from him yesterday. Let go, Lin Pingzi gritted his teeth. He had been planning to go out to find some food and freshen up since the morning, but Lily refused to let go and insisted on following him. However, her back was injured and she also had a few wounds on her body. She couldn't walk at all due to the wound. He dragged her for 2 steps before crying. He had to carry her on his back, but people have 3 urgent needs. Lin Pingzi wanted to stab her to death at this moment, but he couldn't see her crying. He had runny nose and tears, and he couldn't let go. "I won't let you go. Brother Ping, are you going to leave me alone? Where do you want to go?" Although Lily didn't have a fever at the moment, the wound on her back still hurt. She was injured and stayed alone. In this barren mountain and wilderness, she would rather follow Lin Pingzi than live in such a desolate way. Lin Pingzi's forehead was throbbing with veins. His originally gorgeous clothes became a bit messy under Lily's rubbing all night, and he looked very embarrassed. He had said many times that he just wanted to find food and wash up. But Lily didn't believe it. "I'm really just going to fetch water. I'm going to fetch water and find food." Lin Pingzi finally couldn't bear it anymore and sternly yelled, "Stay here. If you want to run away, I'm fine. Before you seek revenge on your father, you don't want to go anywhere. Then wouldn't it be better for you to take me with you?" Lily's chaotic mind could only think of such a retort, but it stumped Lin Pingzi. In the end, Lin Pingzi still had no choice but to carry her on his back. It was on the back, but it was impossible to carry it on the same complicated makeup as before. Lin Pingzi irritably took out a simple green shirt and put it on. Thinking of the beautiful clothes before, he glared angrily. Lily glanced at her several times, but saw that she was leaning against a big tree, gesturing on it with her fingers, not even looking at herself from the corner of her eye, and she couldn't help but become a little more angry. "Let's go." After going to the toilet in a dense forest, Lin Pingzi shouted at Lily again with a gloomy face. When he saw her pretending to carry her back, he cursed a few more times in his heart, but still resigned to her fate, Lily returned to the ruined temple. Lily seemed to be a different person after being injured this time. Although Lin Pingzi resented his enemies, in all honesty, Yu Lingshan had always been good to him. He had been taking advantage of her during the long time they had been married. She blocked Yu Buchan's speculation, but she didn't complain at all. This time, she blocked the venom for herself. Resentment and a bit of inexplicable gratitude struggled in his heart, making him feel a little cruel towards Lily. "Make up your mind." Originally, Lin Pingzi was going to seek refuge with Zhou Lengchan, the head of the Songshan section, unexpectedly. Because there was someone like Lily in the team, his journey naturally slowed down. Along the way, Lily shouted that her wound hurt. She could only ride in a carriage instead of a horse. Several times Lin Pingzi wanted to forget it and stop seeking revenge on her, but she refused to let him go. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 25. With such a tow truck around, Lin Ping's Higuang had been looking for a carriage that she was satisfied with for several days. Along the way, she shouted that something was not right here and there was something wrong. It had been almost a month since the two set out, and they had not entered yet. In the territory of the Songshan sect, the gorgeous clothes and beautiful rouge that Lin Pingzi fell in love with recently are finally far away from him. No matter who brings a giant baby with him, the evil and cool temperament can no longer be maintained. Another half-month has passed and she hasn't passed a few villages yet. Lily wants to eat roasted squab. I don't know who is using flying pigeons to send messages recently. Lin Ping beat two of them with his hands in the past 2 days while checking the news. Then he roasted the pigeons by the way. Lily directed him to fry the pigeons and apply a little oil on them. The taste was immediately better. She had been clamoring to eat it these 2 days. After explaining to her many times that although roasted pigeon meat is good, eating too much will not be good for the wound, Lin Pingzi finally got angry. I told you that eating too much is bad for the wound, why didn't you listen? How could you hide your true nature so well before? Damn it, he once heard Lily blurt out 2 curse words once, and after that he cursed him in a rage and he felt a lot better. Recently, holy shit, these 2 words have become Lin Pingzi's mantra. He was ready as soon as he finished cursing. Sure enough, he saw tears welling up in Lily's eyes, pursed her lips and stopped talking. Lin Pingzi regretted it. He already regretted why he married Yu Lingshan in order to deal with Yu Buchan. He also regretted why he took her with him when she was injured in the first place. Ling Huchong was following him at that time. He should just take her with him. Yu Lingshan should be left to him. Compared to his own impatience, Ling Huchong should be willing to take care of her. But for some reason, perhaps because he had been taking care of Lily for a long time recently, Lin Pingzi felt uncomfortable leaving her in the hands of Ling Huchong, so even though he knew Ling Huchong and Ren Yingying were following him far away from him, it wasn't that far away, and he didn't say anything about sending Lily there. Even as soon as the thought arose, he used various excuses to cancel it out. Ancestor, I'm going to hunt pigeons. Lin Pingzi gritted his teeth bitterly. His evil fighting swordsmanship and his family's ancestral secrets have not been used to kill enemies and avenge them. They are all used to serve Lily. All kinds of weird ideas. I still want to eat fish. Lin Pingzi's grilling skills have improved recently, but his temper has become worse. When he heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched, but when he saw Lily's pitiful expression, he resigned to his fate. A word came out from between his teeth, okay. After saying that, he directly carried Lily to the horse and sat down on it. He stepped on Qinggong himself and jumped to the small river ditch not far away. The long sword in his hand seemed to vent his hatred. Poke it in the water. His speed was extremely fast, and he brought up waves of water. Each time he raised his sword, he was wearing 2 palm-sized fish. He directly threw the fish on the shore next to him. In a short time, he had about a dozen of them. After getting the fish, he still has to get the pigeons. It seems that these fish cannot be grilled because they are too small. In this case, he has to kill each fish cleanly and maybe fry them before Lily will eat them. When he thought of this, Lin Pingzi was about to run away again. He gritted his teeth, and with a gloomy face, he picked up stones and prepared to hit the pigeons when he saw them. The Lily was already so hungry that he covered his stomach. Lin Pingzi, he had been staring at her from the corner of his eye. Seeing her appearance, he had a gloomy expression and took advantage of the time before the pigeons came to grill the fish. I don't know why she was supposed to be my enemy, but now I am serving her like a servant. After finally catching 2 pigeons, I just plucked the pigeons and removed the entrails. Before they were roasted, the carriage that had been following for a long time finally lost sight of her. Howdy drove towards the front, obviously no longer planning to hide. Junior brother Lin, this pigeon is a message from a fellow martial artist. I'm afraid it's not good for you to kill it like this, right? Ling Huchong reluctantly hugged Lin Pingzi, but his eyes subconsciously went to the man sitting outside the car, whose face was so pale that there was no trace of blood. Lily looked at it and felt great pain in her heart. I don't know why the junior sister's face was so bad before. He was following Ling Huchong from a distance. Although he knew that she seemed to be injured, he didn't expect that she looked so serious now. He stared at Lily, and there was something in Ren Yingying's eyes. Lin Pingzi looked hurt, and became even more furious. He blocked the carriage like lightning. Hero Linghu is famous all over the world, why are you staring at your wife now? Regardless of whether Lin Pingzi has Yu Lingshan as his wife in his heart, once someone wants to compete with him, he has a feeling that he is unwilling to let go. Although he is already different from before because of practicing the evil book, but no matter what, Lin Pingzi just couldn't give Lily his hands. Ling Huchong lowered his head, and Ren Yingying next to him had already held his hand. Lily stared at the famous male protagonist in the novel, and after several glances, she called out, "Brother!" Before Ling Huchong could answer, he said to Lin Pingzi, "I'm hungry." Lin Pingzi originally felt extremely violent because of seeing Ling Huchong, but now after hearing Lily's words, he pulled the handsome Lin Pingzi wildly. He glared at her angrily, "I know. After dealing with firewood, rice, oil, and salt for a long time, he couldn't develop any temperament. Now he has no intention of fighting Ling Huchong anymore. He has been with Lily for a long time. I don't know if it's because of her way of doing laundry and cooking for him." Lin Pingzi's expression, apart from being a little angry when he didn't do it well at first, has become accustomed to it after more than a month. Even compared to the previous thoughts filled with resentment and revenge, it has recently become I think hard about what to eat every day. Ling Huchong's expression changed slightly when Lily called him, but then he heard her expression when she ordered Lin Pingzi to cook. The smile on Ling Huchong's face gradually froze again. Ren Yingying next to him sighed, "Brother Chong, let's go. Little junior sister, if there is anything I can be of use for, as long as you ask, senior brother will definitely come over even if he is thousands of miles away." Ling Huchong did not answer what Ren Yingying just said, but instead shouted to Lily. Lin Pingzi's expression changed as soon as he spoke. He didn't have any ill feelings towards Ling Huchong, but because of the influence of Yu Lingshan's own memory, she felt deeply guilty towards Ling Huchong. When she heard this, she bid him biting his lips. He nodded and said, "Thank you, master brother. My father can't forgive you. I apologize to you. I also hope that master brother, you." These words seemed to be spoken by Lily instinctively, and Ling Huchong felt even more heartbroken. The words blurted out. "How could I blame you? Even if I die for you, I will never blame you." Lin Pingzi snorted coldly, and Ren Yingying lowered her head. Ling Huchong turned around 3 times and was beaten by Ren Yingying. Pulled back to the carriage where the 2 of them were riding. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 26. Now that I've met the old lady, it's obvious that he wants to throw me aside, right? You go, if you go with him, I won't blame you. Lin Pingzi was furious, but he said something strange about Lily. There was a run. Lily's IQ is now only 30, and her emotional intelligence has also dropped. When she heard this, she thought of the way Ling Huchong looked at her just now, and said that he would never blame herself. Lin Pingzi was always scolding and cruel to her, and she nodded. She turned around and started to put away her baggage, making Lin Pingzi so angry that he wanted to take out the long sword from his waist and stab her to death 2 or 3 times. "You heartless woman, do you really want to leave? You are just like your father, you are not a good person." Lin Pingzi was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. He was holding a dove in one hand and drew a long sword right next to him. The bushes started to be chopped down until the branches and leaves were flying everywhere. Only then did Lily show a look of fear and vigilance on her face. "You asked me to leave. If I tell you to leave, just leave. If I tell you to die, will you go?" Lin Pingzi was extremely depressed, especially after he yelled these words and saw Lily shaking her head subconsciously. A stream of blood seemed to spurt out. Although I don't know why Lily turned into such a silly look after being injured. Although she was innocent and romantic in the past, she doesn't seem to be short-sighted now. "If you dare to leave, I'll break your legs and just stay here." Lin Pingzi endured the depression in his heart and warned, "Don't talk to Ling Huchong again next time, or I'll beat him you." Lily believed it, and was about to pounce on him again. Lin Pingzi saw that her thoughts were reflected on her face, and gritted his teeth. "I won't kill you, I won't kill you, don't even think about hugging me and crying." After Ling Huchong's farce, Lin Pingzi began to regret whether he wanted to seek revenge from Yu Buchan. Mu Jiaofeng and Yu Kanghai had been killed by him anyway. Although Yu Buchan was a hypocrite, he could not treat such a person. Uncovering his true identity would probably be more uncomfortable for him than actually killing him. Especially since no matter what, after taking care of someone for almost 2 months, Lin Pingzi couldn't bring himself to kill her like before. What's more, he still felt reluctant to let go of the two of them living together. When she was alone again as before, Yu Lingshan was a little stupid now, but she needed her. Although she needed to avenge her parents before, she had killed those 2 people. Now she felt good being needed by Yu Lingshan. No longer as terribly lonely as before, Lin Pingzi felt for the first time that he no longer wanted to go to Songshan to find Zhou Lengchan to avenge himself. With this thought, Lin Pingzi drove the carriage and started walking without any purpose. He didn't stop until the 2 of them returned to the ruined temple where they had recovered from their injuries. Since he no longer wanted to take revenge, he was going to find a barren mountain to live in. Lily watched him chop down trees with his thin sword every day, and curiously took a snack and asked while eating next to it, "Brother Ping, what are you doing?" The 2 of them had been staying in this place for several days, and they were a little confused. Lily vaguely felt that she shouldn't be like this, but because she didn't have much IQ left, sometimes the thought that something was wrong flashed through her mind but was quickly forgotten. "Stay away." Lin Pingzi got angry when he saw her stupid look. He felt that marrying Yu Lingshan was probably the biggest punishment Yu Buchan would give him. "I saw you were quite clever before, but you revealed your true colors." He looked at Yu Lingshan like a normal person before, instead of the speechless and angry look she looks at now. Lin Pingzi made the most malicious guess about Yu Buchan and inferred that he was deliberately trying to make his daughter pretend to be shrewd, and then reveal his true face after marrying him, so as to make his mind become confused. His muscles and veins will flow backwards, and he will become possessed. The rest of his life will be very miserable. "Oh," she responded, but she didn't move her feet. After a while, she spoke again, "Brother Ping, what are you doing?" When she couldn't help but ask again, Lin Pingzi suppressed the feeling of collapse in his heart and said in a vicious voice, "Can't you see that we are building a house?" "Oh," she agreed again. The veins on Lin Pingzi's forehead were twitching. After waiting for a long time and counting from 1 to 10, when Lily didn't speak again, he felt something was wrong and said with a dark face, "Why didn't you ask again? I see you are gnashing your teeth and counting, so I'm afraid I'll disturb you." Lily smiled at him, with a silly expression on his face. Lin Pingzi almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He turned around dejectedly and used his inner strength to push forward. He used it on the tree pole, but after a while Lily repeated, "Brother Ping, what are you doing?" Lin Pingzi no longer wanted to pay attention to her. It took several days to build the house. Although it was a bit simple and rough, it was at least a separate home for the two of them. Lily stayed at home every day, while Lin Pingzi went hunting and exchanged some things with the hunters down the mountain to make a living. Although the days were dull and Lin Pingzi was busy every day, he felt a sense of fulfillment. After having someone to take care of him, he no longer had the heart to think about the great feud in his family. The only regret was that from now on, the Lin family would never be together again. Become an heir. He turned over and didn't think too much about the problem. Lily in his arms had already fallen asleep and rolled over on top of him. He held her down several times and she rolled up again. Lin Pingzi was a little angry. He pushed her aside again. Seeing that she couldn't wake up, he grabbed her hand and took a bite. "You can sleep like a pig." When the sky gradually became brighter, Lily woke up and found that she was heavy. When she opened her eyes, she found that there was a wooden board on her chest. No wonder when she dreamed at night, she always dreamed that she had become Sun Wukong and was pressed under the Five Fingers Mountain. She pushed away the wooden board and sat up in dissatisfaction, but Lin Pingzi never came back. Lily sat on the bed in a daze, surrounded by darkness, as if there was a howling of a wolf, and she was frightened. She was trembling all over, and the branches outside made a soft sound when they collided. She did not light a lamp, and her face was covered with tears. She didn't know how long it took, but suddenly there were messy footsteps outside, and the door was pushed open with a creak. The tall trees around her blocked the moonlight above her head. She couldn't see clearly who this person was, so she had to fight desperately. Shrunk into a ball. Lin Pingzi took out the fire stick and lit it with difficulty. When he saw her sitting together with her head buried in a small ball in her neck, he breathed a sigh of relief for no reason, but then there was another burst of anger. "Don't tell me that you've been sitting like this all day." After he finished speaking, he took a breath of cold air, which made Lily tremble again. Then he said angrily, "Come here and give me treat the wound on the back." Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 27. Shivering, Lily hurriedly got out of bed and took an oil lamp for him to light. Only then did she see a knife wound on the back of Lin Pingzi's shoulder that almost crossed his upper body. The poison must have been quenched. The blood around him had dried up, but the wound on his upper body was faintly green and black. Lin Pingzi drew a dagger and threw it to her, urging, "Hurry." Lily thought of the scene when he cut off the wound on her back before, and nodded happily. Lin Pingzi's expression of bearing the pain, almost half of Lin Pingzi's back was skinned. "I must have done something wrong in my previous life before I met you," he muttered silently. From the first time Lily was cut wrong, he endured the pain and reminded her several times. After she still couldn't help but make the wrong cut, Lin Pingzi could no longer describe it. He felt that way, and he wanted to beat Lily hard now, but the pain in his body and the large amount of blood loss made his lips turn white, and his red eyes lost some of their usual brightness. "You asked me to do it? It was like this the last time you healed me." Lily was trembling with fright, and her big black eyes showed a bit of vigilance. Looking at her like this, Lin Pingzi always felt that he didn't suffer any internal injuries, but the feeling of vomiting blood suddenly came to his mind. "Your whole back has been poisoned, of course you have to cut it. I only suffered one stab wound, as a result." Most of his skin was skinned alive. Lin Pingzi gritted his teeth with hatred and scolded "You buckin" once again. Finally, he couldn't hold on any longer and slowly fell asleep. Lily dragged him twice, and after seeing that he couldn't be dragged anymore, She thought about it and sat next to him. She only had one thought in her mind at the moment: Lin Pingzi was willing to give her the dagger and turned his back on her. Does this mean that Lin Pingzi already trusted her? Lily has always been confused when she came to this world. This time, except for the plot, there was no task prompt. She didn't know what she wanted to accomplish, so she could only take one step at a time. At this moment, her mind she had no clue, so she quickly put everything aside and fell asleep leaning against Lin Pingzi. Fortunately, Lin Pingzi did not have a high fever at night. When he woke up in the morning and saw his desolate situation, he silently got up with difficulty and dragged Lily onto the bed. He was injured, and it was not particularly serious. He was injured, but he almost died after being treated by Bai. Fortunately, he was different from before, otherwise he might have lost his life. What made Lin Pingzi even more angry was that he was injured, and thanks to Lily, she actually didn't put him on the bed and let him lie on the ground all night. Lin Pingzi survived the serious injury period with strength and courage. Lin Pingzi was so angry that he ignored Lily for several days, but this girl was a thick-skinned girl and shamelessly approached her again. In the end, Lin Pingzi couldn't hold it back and told her anyway. After saying this, the quarrel between the two people before was settled. People are drifting in the world. Although Lin Pingzi wants to change his appearance now, he may not be happy with it. He killed Yu Kanghai, the leader of the Qingcheng section. Yu Kanghai had no idea how many disciples wanted to seek revenge on him because he did not seek refuge with Zhou Lengchan in time. Because of this, all the heroes in the world formed an alliance to deal with this evil thief. Just because Lin Pingzi met such a group of people who wanted to settle a score with him when he went out last time, he was seriously injured under the siege of everyone. I don't know if he was obsessed at the time. In order not to implicate Lily, he even wounded Lily with his wounds. After everyone was completely shaken off, he returned to this wooden house. If he had expected that this girl would repay kindness with hatred, he would have brought her back. Lin Pingzi glanced at Lily angrily. He had become darker and thinner during this period. His charming look when he killed Yu Kanghai and others was gone forever. In order to support Lily in the mountains, such a silly girl, he has to get up before dawn every day. If he wants to practice martial arts, he has no time to rest for a moment. Therefore, he has no time to dress up or find someone to buy beautiful clothes. He used to be gorgeous and good-looking. But he had put away all the robes that were not suitable for running in the woods, and replaced them with just a short top and coarse trousers. When Lily was clamoring for roasted chicken legs, and Lin Pingzi was unable to take her down the mountain, he happened to meet someone from the Qingcheng sect who was looking around with his portrait. Lin Pingzi was shocked and hated Lily with an itch in his heart. He decided to go back to deal with her after going up the mountain. However, in order to prevent her from doing anything bad, he still whispered in her ear, "What if these people do something wrong later? If you find me, run away and leave me alone." "That won't work. How can I ignore you?" Lily patted her chest with a righteous look on her face. "Brother Ping, do you think I am such an ungrateful person?" "I just hope you are an ungrateful person." Lin Pingzi gritted his teeth and looked at Lily's indignant look. He didn't care that the town was full of people looking for him. He said coldly, "You stay. You are just holding me back. What use do you have? If you run away by yourself, I can still walk. If you want to stay, I have to die with you. I beg you to be ungrateful." Lily's face turned red after saying this, and Lin Pingzi was satisfied. "Be smarter later, and when you see me telling you to run, run away." Although Yu Lingxian's martial arts skills were not very good in the past, in comparison, against she couldn't defeat these people in front of her, but she could still run away even if they were entangled by her. "When did I lose my wit?" Lily was a little dissatisfied. Lin Pingzi always kept entangled with her and was led in circles by her. He just snorted and stopped talking. "Brother, there are two suspicious people here." Suddenly, Two disciples of the Qing Cheng sect discovered Lin Pingzi, who was wearing a bamboo hat and pulling Lily. They were shocked and many people were frightened. At the same time as he jumped, Busy followed and surrounded him. Lily's dress now is very different from before. She doesn't know how to do ancient buns herself, and Lin Pingzi naturally doesn't want to do complicated buns for her. He just tied her hair into two buns casually, looking silly. He stared at the people who drew their swords and charged towards the two of them, with a look of fear on their faces, and hurriedly hid behind Lin Ping. He knew that when there was danger, no matter how righteous she said just now, according to her character of bullying good and fearing evil, she would definitely be the first to escape. Although this was his own wish, Lin Pingzi still almost couldn't help spitting out a mouthful of old blood. "Boy, take off the hat," a rough voice rang out, and Lily felt that Lin Pingzi's muscles suddenly tightened. In the tense atmosphere, no matter how stupid she was, she could tell that something was wrong, and hurriedly he stretched out his hand and caught Lin Pingzi. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 28. Let Go. Lin Pingzi's murderous aura was released, and he gritted his teeth and shouted softly, "Isn't there a problem that makes you run away first? You are so close now, do you want to die?" "Brother Ping, I've thought about it." Her lips were close to Lin Pingzi's ears. When she spoke, her warm breath blew out, making Lin Pingzi's ears turn red all of a sudden. But the next moment Lily said it made his whole face turn red, not from shyness, but from anger. "I definitely can't run away by myself. You carry me on your back so that I can run away. When I'm far away and no one is chasing me, you can stop me." At this moment, Kung Fu couldn't argue with her anymore. Lin Pingzi had been with her for such a long time and already knew her temperament clearly. She was completely stupid and had nothing to say. What she was talking about now was definitely not the kind words were the truest thoughts in her heart. "Boy, did you hear that? Our Qing Cheng sect always does things in an honest manner. You obediently take off your hat and let us see it. If it is irrelevant, we will naturally let you go. What kind of hero is he who hides his head and shows his tail?" There was a sinister look in Lin Pingzi's eyes. He was about to speak, but the moment he took off his bamboo hat, the leader, a big man wearing the clothes of a disciple of the Qing Cheng sect, said, "Tisk, it turns out he is a mountain village boy with black hair. The black-faced person will definitely not be named Lin. He's gone." The murderous intent had just been condensed for a moment, and he suddenly froze because of the dissatisfied words of the Qing Cheng section. Lin Pingzi stood stunned for a long time, and the Qing Cheng sect disciple who did not leave in the end said, "Boy, what else can you see in this mountain? Is there anyone else?" Before Lin Pingzi spoke, Lily shook her head stupidly. "There are only two of us on the mountain. Who are you looking for?" As soon as she finished speaking, the man shook his head. "This matter has nothing to do with you. It's best for you to know less. In short, what we are looking for is a big bad guy who does all kinds of evil." As the group of people walked away, they heard someone ask, "Elder brother, how do you know these two are not the daughters of a boy named Lin and a gentleman named Jianyu Buchan?" "You are stupid. Look at that girl's silly look. That boy is dark and thin. Although his figure is similar to that of Lin, I have seen that boy named Lin. He looks like a girl. He is definitely not tall. This look." As the group of people walked further away, they could no longer hear the rest of the words. Lin Pingzi's whole body was petrified and stiff. His wanton life and his handsome and affectionate appearance were already unrecognized by the blind Qing Cheng faction who had only been together with Lily for a short time. Lin Pingzi's eyes were full of murderous intent. When Lily saw something bad, she hugged him tightly and shouted, "Brother Ping, please don't mess around," because she was not smart enough, she thought in a roundabout way. Not much, but at least after spending a long time with Lin Pingzi, I can still see the changes in his mood. Let go, I'm going to find them and come back. What's that look in their eyes? What does it mean to look like this, dark and thin? Lin Ping was so furious that he wished he had a machete at hand to hack these idiots to death in 2 or 3 times. But in the end, Lin Pingzi still couldn't really hack these people to death. His ideals lost to reality. There was Lily beside him, and he couldn't drag him there. What's more, he also knew in his heart that exposing his existence would be harmful to the two of them. There was no benefit, so in the end he returned to the mountain with a gloomy face. The Qing Cheng sect later went up the mountain to search, and found that there was indeed no one else except the place where these two people lived, so they gave up and left, never to return. Never came back. However, these people failed to recognize Lin Pingzi during the second search, which simply smoothed the temper and edges in his heart. In the end, he simply gave up and stayed on the mountain in depression. The days when he didn't take revenge were not necessarily sadder than when he pretended to be hatred in his heart. He opened a vegetable field on the mountain and started to grow vegetables like farmers. Now that he had a person to support and a burden on him, Lin Pingzi said it seemed that life was much more fulfilling in the past. Although time passed, I still thought about the Lin family sometimes, but my hatred was no match for the setbacks of time. In addition, Lily was becoming more and more stupid now. I don't know when, but it seemed that in his heart, I couldn't put it down anymore. After having this person's shadow, Lin Pingzi spent more time paying attention to her unconsciously. It's just a pity that because he practiced the evil sword manual, he is no longer a complete person. Man. Sometimes Lin Ping is glad that Lily is not so smart. At least because she is stupid, she will not dislike him. She will never know the difference between herself and a normal man. Although she acted for revenge at first, but later Lin Ping I still regret it a bit. 10 years later, the Huashan faction in the world gradually declined due to the death of Yu Buchan. Ling Huchang, because he was born under the Huashan sect, was different from the original work. He took up the responsibility of Huashan and married Ren Yingying as his wife. The rivers and lakes were peaceful. Although there were still endless battles, at least it was not like the bloody riot over a sword manual. A carriage was driving along the mountain road. Lin Pingzi, whose martial arts skills were already unfathomable, was completely different from his original gorgeous image. He was driving the carriage humming a tune, looking leisurely. 10 years ago, he could not imagine such a simple and ordinary life. Lily was sitting next to him, and from time to time he saw a beautiful flower, pointed it at him and asked him to pick it, and he would whip it with the roll of the driver's whip. He came over and let Lily put the flowers in his ears without resisting. Brother Chong, it's been 10 years. Maybe Miss Yu has already retired somewhere with Lin Pingzi. There is no Yu Buchan in the world, and naturally there are no people like Zhou Leng Chan. Ren Yingying's voice is over 10 years old. Nian, although as gentle as ever, could still hear the changes in the world. When Lin Pingzi and his 2 men passed by in their car, they only glanced here. When they saw a simple mountain village couple passing by, they were very surprised. He quickly turned his head away. Lily's departure with Lin Pingzi 10 years ago became the source of Ling Huchang's worry about Lily. Lily curiously glanced at this elder brother who seemed to have matured a lot, and waved to him. However, the 2 people did not recognize this person with a smile on her face, sweat on her face and dust wiped from somewhere, with patches of black and white on her face. Ren Yingying just thought she was a hospitable village woman, and she didn't care about her. He waved his hand and turned away. Lin Pingzi smiled, feeling relieved for some reason. Decades have passed in the blink of an eye. Although she has no children, Lily's simple character has lived a contented life. Her body was severely injured back then, and it is not easy to live to the age of 50 now. She died in Lin Pingzi's arms. Lin Pingzi has martial arts skills, so she has aged very slowly these days. Her breathing has gradually stopped, but for some reason, he remembered the days when the two of them stayed together in this life. Although he always said that he gave up revenge for her, the real reason was that she had been with him all his life, so that his life was no longer just revenge and resentment like before. Lin Pingzi smiled and said the breathless Lily was tightly held in his arms. Although he was no longer a complete man, he was still filled with her unknowingly. After getting along with her, he regretted it, but it was too late. Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan Erwr. Chapter 29. After returning to space, Lily also regretted it. When she returned to space, her IQ also came back. Thinking of all the stupid things she did in order to obtain force but chose not to use IQ, she wondered why she ended up in Lin Pingzi's hands. Survived. When she was smart, she was not sure, but she was stupid and Lin Pingzi was obedient to her. Sometimes when she thought about what she had done, she was so embarrassed that she wanted to cover her head and howl. Congratulations, the mission is completed, the cold male voice rang, and Lily was startled, remembering that when she first entered the world of swordsmen, she had seen something that this man had given her, which led to her the mission did not fail. She put away the complicated thoughts in her mind and said hurriedly, "Thank you, I know it is because of you that my mission did not fail." The voice was silent for a while, and then said, "Since the mission has been completed, I can give you a special treatment as a reward." As soon as he finished speaking, Lily's information suddenly appeared in the starry sky. Gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 48, out of 100. Appearance, 59, out of 100. Physical strength, 57, 100 full points. Force, 10, out of 100 points. Skills, none. Specialties, none. Charisma, 20, out of 100. This time Lily took a look and found that all her information had increased a bit, and her charm turned out to be the most special, growing by 2 points. The extremely handsome man wearing a brocade robe and a jade crown did not appear, but he seemed to know what she was thinking. Lin Pingzi likes you more than love, so I will add a little more. This answer was a bit unexpected for Lily. She was stunned. She didn't expect that Lin Pingzi, who seemed to be particularly impatient with her in her memory, actually liked her beyond ordinary love. She thought about it and thought of her own death. The look on Lin Pingzi's face made his heart hurt slightly. She vaguely understood that her mission this time was to either live a life with Lin Pingzi or to gain his love. It was these two things that Yu Lingshan regretted most when she died. She did it, so the mission was successful. But thinking of what this man said, Lily was silent for a long time, speechless. "I will still give you a point this time, where do you want to add it?" The man didn't say anything more, but asked directly. Lily had suffered the disadvantage of not having enough IQ, so of course she said without thinking, "Intelligence." The man paused for a moment, and soon the information on the screen changed to gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 49, out of 100. Appearance, 59, out of 100. Physical strength, 57, 100 full points. Force, 10, out of 100 points. Skills, none. Specialties, none. Charisma, 20, out of 100. The data were still on the low side, but Lily was somewhat satisfied. Carry out the mission again, or take a break. When talking about taking a break, the man paused for a while. Lily thought of Lin Pingzi left behind after her death, and said calmly, "Can I take a break?" Okay, then there was silence in the space. Lily stared at the ever-changing nebula in a daze for a long time. For the first time, she deeply felt that people who do tasks also have to go through the test. She also emotional. After knowing Lin Pingzi's feelings for her, her heart felt a little heavy. You have done a good job. The handsome man opened his mouth for some reason, and his figure appeared in front of the light screen, which made Lily feel slightly relieved. At least someone was talking to her at this time, and you will feel more comfortable. It's just that Lily saw that this handsome man's face was a little unusually white. His clothes remained unchanged, he was still wearing a brocade robe and a jade crown, but his figure looked a lot more transparent, and he looked like he would disappear at any time. You have fulfilled Yu Lingxian's wish even better than she imagined. His words seemed to comfort Lily, and Lily nodded. Although this man spoke little, Lily felt much better after hearing what he said. She will definitely leave the plot of swordsman. Lin Pingzi didn't understand his feelings for her before, but when he realized it, it seemed too late. Lily didn't know what she could do. Maybe she wanted others to tell her. She actually didn't do anything wrong. The melancholy in her heart was quickly suppressed by Lily, and she tried to straighten her waist. I want to carry out the next mission. Seeing that she recovered quickly, the handsome man just nodded silently. I'll take you there. After saying this, his figure flashed and disappeared into the starry sky. I'm going out. When a cold male voice sounded, Lily was still a little dazed. She nodded subconsciously. From the corner of her eye, she saw an olive green figure opening the door and going out. The back looked tall and strong, with a bright brain. When the huge news came, Lily was already prepared, so although she had a splitting headache, she still didn't scream. The world she came to this time became a woman named Lily, and she also became a woman who had just been married. This time she married a soldier, and she became a military wife. This time Lily's husband's name is Wanzhou. He was originally a soldier from the countryside in Nanjing who came to Beijing to serve as a soldier. The background of the story is in the late 1970s. Because Wanzhou has repeatedly made military exploits, he has now been appointed to a certain army. Army commander. Wanzhou is only 29 this year. He can be considered young and promising to hold this position at his age. Wanzhou had been married once before. Wanzhou's marriage was arranged by his parents. The woman's name was Zhaoqing. She was petite, charming, and cute. Wanzhou originally liked her very much. It's just that Wanzhou was sent abroad for a mission, and there was no news about it for about 2 years. He narrowly escaped death during that mission, and many people thought he was dead. Zhaoqing waited for the first year, but finally got it after a year and a half. Unable to bear it any longer, he fell in love with the son of a military commander in the same city. Because Zhaoqing is beautiful, it would be easy for her to seduce her husband when he is not around. In addition, the man who seduces her this time is good looking and has a good family background. Zhaoqing is not very old. She was only 17 when she married Wanzhou. Finally failed to withstand the temptation and ended up with the man who pursued her. Unexpectedly, Wanzhou was lucky enough to not only survive but also complete the task perfectly, so he was promoted all the way back. Wanzhou has a strong self-esteem by nature, and what people like him can't bear the most is a woman cuckolding him. After discovering that Zhaoqing had an affair with the army commander's son, he was furious, and of course he no longer thought about it. If he wanted to be with Zhaoqing, he would divorce her immediately. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 30. After the divorce, Wanzhou married Lily, who also came from a military family. Wanzhou relied on the power of the Yu family to rise to the position of military commander. After becoming equal to the father of the man who had raped Zhaoqing, Zhaoqing became I regretted it later. When she was young, She relied on her youth and beauty to live a life of debauchery. Later, she was tossed between men one after another. She began to fall step by step. Finally, when the flowers were in ruins, she met the husband who had been abandoned by her. He already had children. With the woman by her side, Zhao Qing regretted it. She felt that she had given up her happiness. She felt that everything Lily had now should have belonged to her, so in all kinds of despair, Zhao Qing committed suicide. Unexpectedly, God treated her favorably. After her death, she was reborn and returned to the time when she had done something wrong. After having a one-night stand with the army commander's son, she immediately cut off contact with the man. Unfortunately, they had a real relationship. Wanzhou came back 2 years later, and her relationship with the army commander's son was in doubt. Unable to hold back his anger, even though he only did it that one time, Wanzhou still had a strong character and divorced her, and later married Pepsi. It's just that Zhao Qing was unwilling to give in. She felt that she still had to work hard for her own happiness, so she stuck around Wanzhou. Wanzhou could marry her at that time, except for his parents' love. If he had no intention at all, he would not have done it. Agreed to this marriage. It was just because Zhao Qing hurt him so deeply that he hated Zhao Qing deeply. This time Zhao Qing did not deny her mistake, but she insisted that she was forced by the scoundrel. Wanzhou ignored her at first, but Zhao Qing sincerely showed repentance. She often ran to the Wan family, came to call Lily sisters, and stayed in their house to work as cows and horses. At the beginning, Wanzhou warned Lily, but as time went by, Lily relaxed her vigilance at the beginning, and later became sympathetic. There was a hint of pride mixed in. After all, what wife would be displeased when she sees her husband's ex-wife working as a coward with her own family, claiming that she is her sister and that she is here to atone for her sins? As soon as Lily relaxed, Wanzhou naturally began to change his attitude towards Zhao Qing. After all, he was his former lover. Although Wanzhou couldn't stand it because of her betrayal, Zhao Qing was also pitiful. She didn't do it voluntarily, and so did she. After being forced, Wanzhou once forgave her in his heart. Zhao Qing quickly inserted himself into the family. Lily was proud from the beginning, but when she came to her senses later, she saw her husband's apologetic look upon seeing Zhao Qing. Wanzhou felt that it was because she had not been seen in the first 2 years, and because Zhao Qing was so beautiful that she attracted those crazy bees and butterflies. If she were still here, others would not dare to make any plans for her. After all, Wanzhou in his heart, he felt that he had harmed Zhao Qing. When Lily came to his senses, Wanzhou was already full of guilt for Zhao Qing. At the beginning, he tried his best to help Zhao Qing, arrange work for her, and provide various services for her family. Arrange. Lily didn't feel anything was wrong at first, but by the time she realized it, it was already too late. She started to get into trouble with Wanzhou. From the initial tantrum, Wanzhou had no intention of dealing with her anymore. He became tired all day long and didn't want to go home again. At this time, Zhao Qing's gentleness undoubtedly became a harbor where he can dock. Although Wanzhou did not have any substantial sexual relationship with Zhao Qing before finally separating from Lily, he was actually tired of Lily in his heart. Under such a farce, the prodigal son turned back. In her previous life, Zhao Qing had tasted the taste of drunkenness and glamour, but because of her understanding of Wanzhou in her previous life, she deliberately turned into the kind of woman he liked best. Comparing the two, Wanzhou finally filed for divorce from Lily. Although he did not treat Beijia badly in the end, a good family like Lily was torn apart. You can imagine the resentment in her heart. What's more, Wanzhou finally became a success. He did not marry Zhao Qing again, but until after being promoted to the position of division commander, the resentment in Lily's heart eventually led her to seek death like Zhao Qing. Her biggest wish during her lifetime was to get rid of Zhao Qing, a bitch, and not to give her all the advantages. Although there was no memory of Wanzhou remarrying Zhao Qing, Lily could guess that once he divorced his wife, Zhao Qing would set up a gentle trap. It is conceivable that she would be exhausted in her married life. Where will all the love go? The original owner was very unwilling. She did nothing. Just because Zhao Qing had the love of God, she could do it again if she made a mistake. She had enjoyed all the money, and she could get Wanzhou again and destroy her. Zhao Qing even regarded the original owner as a bitch because of her marriage to Wanzhou. The original plot described Beihe as a shameless person. After collecting the memories in her mind, Lily was trembling all over. This mission should be relatively easier than the previous ones. At least the original owner had a clear goal. She knew where to fight instead of going nowhere, bumping around like flies. At this time, the plot should have reached the time when she and Wanzhou had just gotten married and Zhao Qing had been reborn and was pestering Wanzhou. Lily in the plot relies on her identity, so when Zhao Qing pestered Wanzhou to apologize, she didn't pay attention, but magnanimously chose to hand over the power of deciding things to Wanzhou's hands, and in this way she became Zhao Qing's eye. The woman in the center shamelessly robbed her of her happiness. Of course Lily will not give Zhao Qing another chance this time. Even if Zhao Qing is reborn, Lily will definitely win Wanzhou's heart when the situation is favorable to her at this time. Speaking of Wanzhou, this person is determined, cold and determined, and has a certain sense of being a man. Otherwise, Zhao Qing would not be chaste and he would divorce her no matter how much he liked her. The whole day passed quickly. Lily did not go to see Zhao Qing today. Instead, she chose to buy vegetables and cook. Zhao Qing used such gentle means to win Wanzhou's heart step by step. Wanzhou has a very strong male self-esteem. Although his current promotion was due to his military achievements, there were also reasons due to his wife's natal family. Zhao Qing also took advantage of this and successfully made Wanzhou feel better when facing Lily. There were some barriers in her heart, and now Lily decided to change. If Zhao Qing was not given the opportunity, she would no longer be like herself in the plot, stupidly waiting for the enemy to come to her door. I ate some casually at noon. In the evening, Lily thought about Wanzhou's fondness for braised pork in her memory, so she cooked a big pot. After several lives, Lily's craftsmanship has improved significantly. When Wanzhou came back in the evening, he smelled the aroma of food in the house and was stunned. Lao Wan is back in this era. It is not popular to address husbands and wives. When Lily called him Lao Wan, Wanzhou nodded. After washing his hands, he took off his clothes and sat at the dining table. Book lovers are welcome to come and read. The latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 31. He was very tall and strong, and once the camouflage uniform was taken off, only a white vest was left underneath. You could vaguely see the strong muscles and powerful limbs under the vest. Lily only glanced at it and quickly turned away. Wanzhou didn't say anything. He held the bowl and ate 4 bowls before putting down the bowl and chopsticks. Although he was a little curious, how could Lily start cooking? After all, she was from an extraordinary family. Logically speaking, a girl like her should be pampered by her parents' family. They had been married for a long time, but she had never cooked a meal for Wanzhou. On weekdays, Wanzhou would either cook something by himself or bring food from the canteen. But although Wanzhou was curious, he didn't ask. This had always been the way the couple got along. Although they had been married for a while, the two of them had not exchanged a few words of enthusiasm so far. After clearing away the dishes and boiling water for a bath, Lily thought about it and packed up the room next door. She was not mentally prepared to have sex with Wanzhou yet, although Lily had already prepared that she might sacrifice everything for the mission. Hard, but she doesn't think about it yet. In the evening, before he had time to tell Wanzhou to let him live next door, he took a shower, dried his hair, got into bed, and pressed Lily under him. From his memory, he knew that Wanzu was strong and very capable in certain aspects, which made Lily a little unbearable every time. He also had strong needs in this area. This was something that Zhaoqing never forgot after trying all kinds of men in her previous life. One of the biggest reasons why Wanzu couldn't understand it was that Lily shivered and pushed him quickly. Wanzu frowned. "What's wrong?" While he was talking, his hands did not stop, and he touched up along the waist, which made Lily shiver. She had been married for several months, but she looked very raw, which obviously made Wanzu even more. The excitement caused her to feel a little painful where she pressed against Lily. No, she was afraid of shouting too late, so she shouted while crying. Wanzu couldn't stand being rejected by a woman in this regard. He was about to put Lily's hand on her head when Lily hurriedly said, "I heard that someone has been looking for you recently. It's the one from your hometown." In this era, soldiers originally had to apply for marriage. At that time, Wanzu and Zhaoqing just had a banquet in the countryside. Because they didn't have time, it was for a special mission, so Wanzu actually went, but he was also worried that something might happen to him, so he comforted Zhaoqing and they would issue a marriage certificate after Zhaoqing came back. Everyone in her hometown already thinks that Zhaoqing is Wanzhu's daughter-in-law. However, in front of the serious national laws, there is actually nothing between Zhaoqing and Wanzu. After all, Zhaoqing was not old enough to get married, so she was only 17 when she got married. Now, more than 2 years later, she was only 20, half a year younger than Lily. Wanzu stared at Lily without making a sound. Lily was trembling, trying hard to pretend to be noble and charming, but her face was somewhat panicked. I wonder if you have thought clearly about what is going on with her. Say more." Zhaoqing's visit to Wanzu has caused quite a stir recently. Some soldiers at the grassroots level know that Wanzu is getting married, but they don't know Lily's identity. Some of them have already begun to call Zhaoqing's sister-in-law. Wanzu frowned. Unexpectedly, the matter had reached Lily's side. He could see the timidity in Lily's eyes. Somehow, he endured the anger in his heart and stood up again. He was not angry. He scratched his hair and said, "Women are really troublesome. A man who is not satisfied with his desires is the scariest thing. Lily doesn't dare to offend him now. She just lies far away from him. Her clothes that were torn to pieces by Wanzu just now are about to move and close up. Wanzu he stared at her again, but in the end he couldn't hold it in any longer. He turned over and pressed Lily under him. Just when he was about to break in, Lily only felt her body floating lightly. She had already left her body. Seeing Wanzu on the bed below, Lily was still restrained, and her body was rising and falling constantly. The original owner had a look of pain and forbearance on his face, which made her face turn red. "If you find a way to avoid it next time, I can help you at most this time," the man's voice in the starry sky rang. Lily was stunned for a moment, and then her face turned red again. She agreed softly, and then the surrounding people there was no more sound. Wanzu kept fussing for several hours, and Lily went from being shy and embarrassed at the beginning to getting angry later. He didn't rest until it was almost daybreak. Lily returned to her body only after it got dark. When she woke up, she saw it seemed to be noon already, and the smell of food was wafting around. Lily opened her mouth and wanted to scold her. Her bones seemed to be about to fall apart. The key was that the area between her legs was swollen and painful, and even her fingers were trembling. When she couldn't lift it up, the door was suddenly opened. She subconsciously pulled the quilt to cover her body. Wanzu came into the room wearing a white shirt and dark green military trousers. It looked like he felt refreshed, as if he wasn't the one who was tired yesterday. "I've thought about what happened yesterday." He pulled up a stool and sat beside the bed, holding the food in his hand and motioning for Lily to get up and eat. But Lily was naked, and after yesterday Wanzhou didn't even let her wear the clothes at this time. Lily cursed in her heart and forced herself to calm down. Between you and Miss Zhao, you have to figure it out yourself. Let's talk later. Her mission this time was very simple. The original owner just wanted to avoid being harmed by Zhao Qing for the rest of her life, and there was no hard and fast rule about whether she should be with Wanzhou or not. Even if Wanzhou couldn't live with her in the end, the worst was Lily. Just live your life well after getting divorced, and then add more obstacles to Zhao Qing and prevent the two of them from being together. In her memory, Lily knew Wanzhou as well as the reborn Zhao Qing. Even if she couldn't win him over, it would still be easy to find a gentle and beautiful woman who could make Wanzhou's heart flutter. What nonsense are you talking about? What's there to think about? Wanzhou frowned. He looked very masculine and handsome. In this era where opportunities are everywhere, he was lucky enough to have military merit, so he was very young. After climbing to a high position, he had a very charming tough guy vibe about him. Now he frowned with a serious expression. Comrade Zhao and I have already passed. There is nothing between me and her. You should believe me, I will never do anything sorry for you. He thought Lily was jealous, so he expressed his thoughts seriously. He was a man who kept his word and was very trustworthy. Lily believed him very much when he said this frankly in his heart. But trusting him now does not mean that he will be trusted in the future, not to mention that Lily knows that they have nothing to do at this time, but her purpose is not just now. She knows what kind of person Wanzhou is, so she deliberately said, I know you are with there is nothing wrong with her. I also know that you are not that kind of person, but what I want to say is, did you think clearly about it when you divorced her? I also know that Miss Zhao may not be that kind of person as the legend says. Maybe someone misunderstood her. Book lovers are welcome to come and read, the latest, fastest and most popular serial works are all original.